When Norm McDonald passed away in 2021, he left behind a problem.
And now a correction to a story we ran last week. Prince Charles is actually the one in the middle.
How do you fill that void? The void left by the passing of the funniest person that has ever lived, in my opinion. All right, my humble opinion, okay?
Potential jurors for the O.J. Simpson case were asked to fill out a 75-page jury questionnaire this week. In the entire state of California, only one person got a perfect score. Chow Ming Wu, who after the trial plans to attend Caltech.
Norm MacDonald had a fearless approach to comedy. He refused to compromise in any sense, aside from when he went and apologized for saying the R slur.
And, there used to be a word we would all say to mean stupid that we don't say anymore, right?
Yeah.
You know the word I'm talking about? Yes. Yeah. And stupidly, I was about to say that word. And I stopped and said, "What's the right word to say?" And then I said a different word that was equally.
Yeah.
Did you realize in that moment that probably offended
I realized at that moment that I'd done something unforgivable.
That was a bit of a compromise, or it was a bit. I genuinely don't know. One thing I do know is that his perspective is irreplaceable, genuinely, and he is one of my favorite human beings of all time. And you know, the end of the year is a little bit more of a melancholic season for myself and many others, so I wanted to make a bit of a different video and talk about Norm MacDonald.
He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy, and congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you, unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case...
Norm MacDonald was born on October 17th, 1959 to a couple of Anglophones in Quebec City, Canada. An Anglophone is someone who speaks English, by the way. His parents, Fern and Percy Lloyd MacDonald, were teachers, and they grew Norm up in a conservative environment that is a bit of a contrast to his irreverent and just off-the-wall humor.
Sitting there with a cigarette.
I feel if I took one puff. I have an oral fixation, my doctor tells me, which is not good.
How did he know that?
I was sucking his...
While raising Norm, Norm's father was determined to maintain their Anglophone heritage, English-speaking heritage, and refuse to let Norm learn French in spite of their Francophone surroundings. That's right, guys, big words. Young MacDonald was a scholar, a smart person, academic achievement, and this growth was landmarked by a growing fascination for literature and comedy. Literature, a often reappearing theme in the comedy of Norm MacDonald. Contrary to popular belief, and in spite of what he said, Norm did not drop out of high school at age 16. He said he dropped out 2 years early. He actually graduated at the remarkably young age of 14. And his early academic success led him to enroll at Carleton University at age 16, where he studied math and philosophy. I think that's how you say it. Philosophy? I think that's it. Before he then dropped out without completing his degree. Baller! Epic win! And thus began Norm's path to comedy. However, it was not a straight line. He initially followed in his elder brother Neil's footsteps and briefly attended Algonquin College, some programs for journalism and broadcasting television. That experience seemed to be fairly short-lived, but did well in informing him later of his comedic approach. Specifically, his incredible delivery of deadpan news-style jokes. I love Weekend Update. All right, I've got all the VHS tapes, all of them, literally. SNL, every single year, 1994, 1998, all of them. Watched them every single day when I was a child. All right, not now. That'd be weird if I did that now.
John Goodman has announced that he will not be returning to Roseanne next year. So how will the show get rid of him on screen? Well, insiders now say that over the last few episodes of the season, Roseanne will gradually eat him.
And past that, before fully committing to comedy, Norm worked some manual labor jobs, etc., things that further formed his worldview. The resulting formation of his perspective and worldview from his life experiences is very interesting. In a WTF podcast interview, Norm once remarked, "I love super old people because it's like it helps you with perspective. You know what I mean?"
You still like old people?
Love them. I love super old people because it's like it helps you with perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? You go, "Hey, you were heartbroken?" They go, "Oh, what?" You know, they don't care.
I don't even remember her.
Yeah, it's all like comedy to them. They go, "Yeah, there was."
Yeah, I shit this morning. Everything's good.
Exactly, right.
Yeah, I do know what you mean, Norm. Thank you. We don't exactly know if this was Norm's first performance, but the comedy stage was set with a performance at Yuck Yucks Comedy Club in 1985. It was a pivotal moment that would launch his career and cause him to become one of the most distinct voices in comedy, and from my perspective, one of the most appreciated. The most appreciated, easily.
So first we have to share the backseat. You ever have to share the backseat? Like there'd be three guys all stuffed into the backseat. And you're all, and you're crunched in. You're with two guys and they're right beside you, and you're in the middle. That's the worst. Backseat middle. That's the worst spot of all, man. Nobody ever chooses that spot, You ever say, hey, can I get backseat middle? Can I get that?
Just after his commitment into comedy in 1986, he was unfortunately diagnosed with stomach cancer and went through a year-long battle, which he kept secret. And after winning that battle, he then really pursued his comedic ambitions.
Well, I like watching TV. I don't like commercials. Some of those commercials, they insult your intelligence, I saw this one for cat food. It says at the end of it says, all natural food for your cat. All natural food. But cat food's made out of horse meat. Yeah, that's the way it works in nature. The cat right above the horse in the food chain. That's the way that works. Yep.
And finally, in 1988, Norm Macdonald moved to Los Angeles. And by 1989, at the age of 30, he was performing on talk shows, which is crazy. Look at this guy, skinny bastard. Norm saw some successes in the turn from the 80s to the 90s with appearances on David Letterman's show.
Our next guest has performed at clubs all over Canada and the United States, including the Improv in Los Angeles and also Catch a Rising Star and Stand Up New York here in Manhattan. And now, making his network television debut, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Norm Macdonald.
He also got a one-man comedy special on HBO.
Them engagement rings, boy, they cost a lot, boy. I was looking at them. Cost like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, something like that. $4,000. Big number divisible by 1,000, anyways. And you can get cheap ones too. I saw one ring, $20 there, engagement ring, But what the hell are you gonna do with that, huh? Go, here you go, honey. I love you a little bit. I get down on my knees, but it seems kind of stupid for $20.
But his first real opportunity at a stable gig and income came in 1992 when he secured a writing position on the Dennis Miller Show. Dennis Miller, this guy, smart guy, I think, at least, I'm not sure.
You're a young iconoclast, Norm. The kids, they get you.
What? No, I was going to wear a suit, and
I don't need to. I like this whole D.B. Cooper look for you, man. This is... Now,
is he the guy that jumped out of the plane?
No. He's married to Alice Cooper. Now, the thing
Now, the Dennis Miller Show was short-lived, thank God. I've never seen it, I don't actually know. But it got him some connections to continue his career, and his career began to gain some momentum. He was hired as a writer just after that for the popular sitcom Roseanne during the 1992-1993 season.
You wrote for Roseanne, huh?
Yeah, Roseanne was my first job, yeah.
He was able to refine his skills in crafting character-driven comedy. He sharpened his ability to write for diverse comedic voices. Stop. Sit, little buddy. Old Norm's writing on Roseanne caught the attention of a guy named Lorne Michaels, the legendary producer of Saturday Night Live.
Good evening, I'm Lorne Michaels. Recently, the NBC television network has experienced sweeping budget cuts. These cuts have been severe, and all of us have been forced to make sacrifices.
He was impressed by McDonald's unique comedic talents and invited him to write for SNL for season 19 in 1993. This decision for Lorne Michaels to hire Norm Macdonald, in my opinion, is one of the greatest decisions ever made in entertainment. Genuine. He became a writer and cast member for Saturday Night Live's 1993 season, and he even appeared briefly in the second episode of the season with Shannon Doherty. No relation to Jack Doherty, I think.
Deal was cash.
Here I am talking with the caterer. He did a really wonderful job.
6 months ago.
Well, I never said cash.
The deal was cash.
Here, I'm sure this will cover it. It's from the spellings. What are you doing? Turn that thing off.
Now, Norm was able to shine on SNL. He was able to help behind the camera and contribute there, but also be funny as on television with Weekend Update.
In an interview in this month's Vanity Fair, actor Tom Cruise attempts to end once and for all rumors that he is gay.
That's right, Weekend Update. I love Weekend Update. He ascended to the Weekend Update in 1994. And by God, he offended every single human being ever. And the OJ stuff, oh, it's so good, dude.
And the Pope came out with a book this week, which contains a series of essays examining faith and morality in today's secular world and the changing role of the Catholic Church as it approaches the 21st century. The book is entitled, God Himself Told Me That O.J. is Guilty.
There's not better comedy. I swear, I think the Norm Macdonald Weekend Update is just the funniest thing that I can consistently watch.
According to an obscure 14th century law, British Army Captain James Hewitt could be hanged for having an affair with Princess Diana. The punishment for having sex with Princess Diana is death. The punishment for having sex with Princess Anne is having sex with Princess Anne.
It's always great. It's always good. It's never stale.
4 Pittsburgh children were found in a house strewn with garbage and human waste after they'd been abandoned by their parents for 2 weeks. The couple was charged with child endangerment, but to their credit, they did bring the children a present. A T-shirt that reads, "My parents left me for 2 weeks in a house full of human waste, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt."
Even the topical jokes, topical shit in the mid-90s, I still think's funny.
And finally, John Wayne Bobbitt is going to be an adult film star. He has been signed to play himself in the John Wayne Bobbitt story. The part of his severed will be portrayed by Pauly Shore.
How's that possible? How's that even? I wasn't even alive. And I think it's funny. I'm like, I get that joke. That's funny.
F. Lee Bailey said this week that if the defense only knew what Ron Goldman's last words were, they might be able to find the real killer. You know, if you ask me, Goldman's last words were probably, hey, you're O.J. Simpson.
And you know why I get that joke? Because I watched this 1,000 times. And I get it. I know more about 1994 and O.J. Simpson and Bill Clinton and, you know, what the
Here we see the president and the first Hey, slow down, you let me catch up.
The best thing about all of this, though, was his bombing. And it was not bombing, but making the crowd boo you is something that I've never seen really any comedian do. Maybe Bill Burr, potentially, but at the level of Norm Macdonald, saying f***ed up shit to a television audience is very different than saying f***ed up shit to a paying comedy audience. And that bombing, people call it bombing. It's not bombing, it's winning, okay?
Because he literally, he just didn't care.
He really
didn't care.
He really didn't care.
People say that, and they're lying.
No, he really genuinely
didn't care. I mean, watch his roast, watch his talk show appearances. He doesn't give a f***. When he bombed, which was like semi-regularly, he would wait in the hallway to shake audience members' hands so that they had to see him again. So they're leaving. He's like, how you doing? Hi.
That is the most gangster move.
Yeah, it totally is. But if he's like, if I kill, I don't want to do that.
I love it. It's my favorite thing about Norm Macdonald. Literally my favorite thing probably about entertainment.
According to a new survey, 55% of adults feel that women are most responsible for minor fender benders, while 78% blame men for most fatal crashes. Please note that the percentages in these pie graphs do not add up to 100% because the math was done by a woman. For those of you hissing at that joke, it should be noted that that joke was written by a woman. So now you don't know what the hell to do, do you?
So many funny bits here, such as leaving notes to self or his inexplicable and consistent blaming random events on actor Frank Stallone. It's incredible.
According to the EPA, it will cost an estimated $295 million to clean up toxic waste at the former Lockheed Martin military aircraft plant in California. The cause of the toxic waste? You guessed it, Frank Stallone.
From our research and just my personal opinion, Norm's stock rose the most in the 90s when he became known for his relentless and completely justified epic mockery of O.J. Simpson during and after the former football star and now dead murderer after the trial.
Thanks, I'm Norm Macdonald, and now the fake news. Well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California.
The first joke that Norm Macdonald ever made on Weekend Update was about the O.J. Simpson trial and the mysterious envelope containing a stiletto knife and a receipt.
Weekend Update with Norm Macdonald.
Thank you. I'm Norm McDonald, and now the fake news. Yesterday, Simpson trial judge Lance Ito allowed that mystery envelope to be opened, and it appears Simpson may already have won $10 million.
Everyone else, especially people on television, were afraid to touch that shit with a 10-foot pole, and it's just, you know, it's Norm MacDonald. He's unequivocally confident in his ability to say that O.J. Simpson's guilty, or even after his acquittal, bro. Oh my God, I love it.
O.J. announced this week that he's coming out with a new book called I Want to Tell You. And if it's successful, O.J. will work on yet another book entitled From Football to Prison, My 25 Years of Showering with Other Men.
Unfortunately, this bravery and unwavering, uncompromising epicness and his stance on the O.J. Simpson case would eventually contribute to his downfall at SNL. It's almost poetic.
They said that this guy, Don Ohlmeyer, turns out to be the president.
Yeah, now I know Don Ohlmeyer, and just between you and me, he's an idiot.
Oh.
So I wouldn't take it seriously. If this guy fired you, you may still have a job. You never know. I'd wait for some paperwork.
No, I phoned him, you know.
Oh, you had to phone in to pick up your messages from the... Oh, man.
Yeah, so I said, hey, you don't know what to say. You're like, hey, how's it going there? You know, you're trying to talk about something else.
Yeah.
Did you have a turkey there for the thing or whatever? I don't know. And then, so he goes, oh, yeah, I'm firing you there from the show. And then I said... oh, that's not good. You know? And then I said, why is that now? And he goes, oh, you're not funny.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, Lord, that's even worse news, you know?
His tenure on Weekend Update would begin and end with coverage of O.J.
Oh, it's just the Weekend Update he doesn't think you're funny.
Yeah, he doesn't think I'm funny in Weekend Update. And God only knows. I mean, you know, it's just a matter of opinion. He also thinks that O.J. is innocent. So.
Exactly. Don't let this pinhead push you around, for heaven's sakes.
And saying what everyone already knew to be true, even if the courts and jury failed. But, you know, Norm MacDonald, he knew from the very beginning.
Well, let's get to O.J. O.J. Simpson's lawyers say they don't want the families of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman in the courtroom during the trial. They're afraid the presence of the family members will just remind O.J. of how much more killing he still has to do.
To be fair, it is more complicated than just boiling it down to O.J. Simpson jokes is the reason as to why he was fired. The reactions of the public and networks to Norm MacDonald's style were mixed. There was a lot of people who just didn't like his offensive way of telling jokes and his fearless approach. It's not a good idea to have a guy like that at the very tip of your spear. I mean, people were weak and lame in the 90s as well. They didn't think shit was funny. And in regard to the boundaries of other network television, Norm always crossed those. Always. It doesn't make sense to have him on Weekend Update, but it makes perfect sense. Here's a very offensive thing about Michael Jackson.
The nation is still reeling from Thursday's bombshell announcement that Lisa Marie Presley has filed for divorce from Michael Jackson. According to friends, the two were never a good match. She's more of a stay-at-home type, and he's more of a homosexual pedophile.
People didn't like that. A lot of people liked Michael Jackson a whole lot, so calling him a homosexual pedophile is probably not a good idea. If you want to keep your job, if you want to be funny, it's a great idea. Eventually, the Antichrist Don Ohlmeyer, aka president of NBC's West Coast division, became increasingly concerned about the segment's ratings and audience reception, and in spite of attempts to persuade McDonald to adjust his approach, the comedian remained steadfast and committed to his style. And in early 1998, Don Ohlmeyer decided to remove Norm MacDonald from the Weekend Update anchor position, citing declining ratings and a drop in quality. Very odd. Then a year later, had Norm MacDonald back on the show. Cuckoo, cuckoo, huh? What? Chinese emoji reaction sound. What the f? It wasn't the ratings, it wasn't the audience reception, it was because Norm MacDonald relentlessly made fun of murderer and friend of Don Ohlmeyer, O.J. Simpson.
We did like 3 solid years of like 60 shows of O.J. jokes in a row.
I mean, this was an uncomfortable situation for me. O.J. had been a friend of mine for 30 years, and I made very clear, talking to Lauren personally, I don't want in any way you ever to hold back on this.
But then I got fired.
This goober fired the greatest asset of SNL and the funniest thing to come out of the 90s, legitimately.
OJ's pal Al Cowlings now has a 1-900 number. For $2.99 a minute, Cowlings will tell callers that OJ is innocent. And for $3.99 a minute, he'll try to do it without laughing.
I mean, who else is there? Chris Farley, he died. Adam Sandler, he's pretty cool. I like Adam Sandler, especially 90s Adam Sandler. I really like Waterboy. It's a good movie.
Bobby! Water sucks. Gatorade is better. What? Use it on the field.
Norm Macdonald's in all of his movies. That whole group of people, I really just like them. I don't know why. The stupid humor gets me great. I love stupid shit. I don't like to think much. Post Norm's departure from SNL, he had some mixed success. There were some ambitious projects. Some things went well, but overall, he kind of, I don't want to say fell off, but he did kind of fall off a little bit. In 1998, he co-wrote and starred in Dirty Work, which was a revenge comedy directed by Bob Saget.
The popcorn and the bulldozer stunt was allegedly perpetrated by these two men, Mitchell Weaver and Samuel McKenna. But was this a dangerous act of mischief or a heroic example of civil disobedience?
The film featured McDonald's longtime friend Artie Lang and included Chris Farley in his final film role before his untimely death. It was kind of a 90s comedians, you know, the early 2000s and the late 90s. And in spite of the star power in Dirty Work, it received largely negative reviews upon its release and performed very poorly at the box office. I actually only watched it recently. I'd never even heard of it. And every 90s comedy my dad forced me to watch, we had all of them. Even stand-up specials, you know, In Living Color, had all the tapes for In Living Color, even that's early 90s. But I never saw that one somehow until recently. I didn't even know it was a thing. And honestly, it wasn't bad. I liked it. It was all right. It was funny. After this, Norm ventured into the world of sitcoms. He had The Norm Show, later renamed Norm. It was an ABC series that ran for 3 seasons from 1999 to 2001 and co-starred some people. Artie Lang was in there, Laurie Metcalf. I'm not exactly sure. I never watched it.
Well, I just want to say that I used to think that I was better than you people, you know? And then something happened to me recently where I realized that I have a problem because something I did really hurt my brother, so I just want to say that I have an addiction too, and I need help.
Hi, my name is Tony, and I haven't had sex with a dead person in over 2 weeks.
After the cancellation of that show and throughout the 2000s, Norm still did stuff, but he kind of laid low, just did comedy. I mean, in my personal perspective into, you know, the consumption of Norm Macdonald, he really peaked in the 90s, and then throughout the 2000s just existed, I guess. Maybe he was in some B-rolls in some Adam Sandler movies or something like that. He was in a show, My Name is Earl. He had a great role in that show.
Now that Big Chubby had died, his son was the most powerful man in Camden County. That made me nervous, since me and him had history. A few years ago, Little Chubby's favorite hobby was messing with people. He messed with Randy.
Hey, Randy, there's a spot on your shirt.
I'm not looking down. I'm not falling for that again.
Come on, look at it. I'll be a lot of laughs. All right, fine, you win.
Then we get to the 2010s. In 2011, Norm returned to television with The Sports Show with Norm Macdonald. It was a sports-focused sketch comedy series on Comedy Central. It was funny. There was great jokes. It was very irreverent. It was very Weekend Update coded. Okay, my friend?
Mixed martial arts continues to be one of the fastest growing sports in the world. This year, the Ultimate Fighting Championship and World Extreme Cage Fighting have merged and plan to form a new sport called Murder.
But it was also canceled after 1 season due to low viewership. You see, I was like 13 or 14 years old, didn't know it was a thing, and also didn't have access to television, so I didn't watch it. But this show was a turning point, a inflection point for Mr. Norm. His entering of the realm of podcasting and streaming, and that is where Norm found his, in my opinion, greatest success.
Growing up, I never would have believed that one day I'd need a computer just to masturbate.
It is strange when you think about it, though.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Yeah,
remember, you used to need nothing. Like
like Sears catalog.
Sears catalog, maybe.
National Geographic.
Exactly.
A van in the woods.
Maybe not the most money, but from 2013 to 2018, I watched every episode of a little show called Norm Macdonald Live. It was long-form interviews with Norm Macdonald, fellow comedians. And some doorman guy, I think his name's Adam.
Yesterday was Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, which was awkward for Adam Egget. Do you know how hard it is to with her kid on the edge of the bed playing Nintendo? I mean, that is a hard job.
I recommend everyone going and watching every single episode. All of it's funny. All of it's up. The ads are funny. They have this man grill, the man grate thing. There's drama about the man grate. Hey, buddy, easy now.
This Father's Day, think the man grate. What is the man grate, you ask? Well, it is 100% made in America, cast iron grilling grate. That's what it is. And they are revolutionizing the way people grill. What, Adam Egan? It's true. You haven't heard of the revolution? It has heavy-duty grilling grates.
Stop it, Frankie. I'm just talking about the man grate. Relax. Frankie, she's got PTSD. That's actually when I got her. The first week that I got Frankie, I watched all the man grate ads. Man grate, you know? I don't know if anybody knows that reference, but it's pretty funny. The podcast was immensely successful. He even went on Conan a couple times during the podcast. He told the moth joke, the legendary moth joke.
It's Doc. Sometimes I feel like a spider, even though I'm a moth. Just barely hanging on to my web with an everlasting fire underneath me. I'm not feeling good. And so the doctor says, Moth, man, you're troubled, but you should be seeing a psychiatrist. Why on earth did you come here? And then the moth said, because the light was on.
And after the success of his podcast, he launched a show on Netflix called Norm Macdonald Has a Show.
Well, I'm so excited about this episode of Norm Macdonald Has a Show. Is that the name of this?
Oh, God.
Do you miss cocaine?
The show, unfortunately, only ran for 10 episodes. He did have some high-profile guests, but there was a mixed reception of the show once again. Not everybody likes Norm Macdonald. He's got a very specific niche kind of humor, maybe. I don't know. I love it. I think he's just so funny, and I don't know anybody who is as funny as he is or as unpredictable as him. His comedy is amazing. His podcasts are even better. I mean, I think his free-form, natural flowing shit is way better than his stand-up, or at least what's been posted online. I have never seen him live, so I don't know. So yeah, then after that, he didn't really do much, and then he died in 2021. But why did he die? He kept a long secret. He was diagnosed with cancer 9 years before his death, and just kept it secret. Didn't tell anybody. Didn't tell me. All right, and that's sad, but also very poetic and beautiful in a weird, sort of wholesomely fearless way. He's an enigmatic individual, and that's what this part of the video is about. Norm Macdonald was excellent at masking, hiding his personal struggles that he faced behind the scenes. Sometimes they would slip. He'd talk about his gambling, his battle with his gambling addiction, his severe sports betting problem.
I remember a psychiatrist once telling me that I gamble in order to escape the reality of life. And I told him that's why everyone does everything. But I've had plenty of wasted nights after losses and bigger losses to consider the question more seriously. So why the attraction?
In fact, if we step forward to his last tweets before he died, they were about sports betting. And that's a little bit sad. A little bit sad. But also amazingly Norm. The gambling addiction seemed to prevent Norm from reaching a level of financial stability and may have caused some personal turmoil. Obviously, it's pure speculation. He's only spoken about it in the instance of bits and making fun of it. He made it seem really bad.
What brought you down? Gambling?
Well, some have said it's been the ruin of me, Larry.
The ruin?
But I don't.
What did you gamble on?
I gambled on sports. And I will tell you this. You should never bet football because the ball ain't round. I keep telling people this. And so the ball hits and then it does all kinds of crazy things and you don't know.
In 2011, he revealed on Mark Maron's WTF podcast that he had lost all of his money gambling 3 times.
I have $450,000 in the bank.
Yeah.
And then you lose $400,000. You go, I don't want the 50,000.
Right.
To remind me that I don't want money to remind me that I have more money.
So that's how you do it.
So that's how you do it. Yeah.
In spite of all this, and also declaring bankruptcy twice due to gambling, Norm still pursued poker as a serious hobby, and I assume did his stand-up to just fund that hobby in the gambling. I don't know, man. It's Pretty up. His best live result ever in poker came in July 2006 when he cashed for $20,000 in the $1,000 Bellagio weekly tournament. I don't know shit about poker or gambling, really, so that's pretty cool. Good job, Norm. Love you. Not only did he gamble in person poker, he also gambled online a lot, and in 2018, in an interview, he admitted to playing up to 20 online limit Hold'em games simultaneously before the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act of 2006 shut down online poker in the United States. Norm said, "Since they went offline, it's kind of saved my life because I was just grinding out and couldn't even sleep." What the f***? I loved gambling. Holy shit. I mean, I love gambling too, but not really. If we go back to 2013, this was when Norm Macdonald was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, a fairly rare and aggressive form of cancer. I've got 2 people in my family who have gotten it. It's up. He decided to keep his diagnosis private and shared it only with his family, agent, and producing partner. Norm's brother Neil said that the reason Norm didn't tell anyone that he had this, or at least the public, he didn't want his condition to affect the way that he was perceived. This also was the case with Gene Wilder as well. I believe he held his either Alzheimer's or dementia diagnosis because he didn't want people to, that one really makes me sad. Gene Wilder is another idol of mine massively. He didn't want people to think of him and be sad. So Norm underwent some treatment and used aliases to avoid drawing attention to those treatments. And in early 2020, Norm Macdonald developed treatment-associated myelodysplastic syndrome, which is a cancer that often progresses to acute leukemia. His final treatment occurred in March 2021, after which the cancer went into remission. But unfortunately, Norm Macdonald passed away on September 14th, 2021 due to complications from acute leukemia. Rest in peace, Turd Ferguson. And yeah, that's Norm Macdonald. He also released a super secret stand-up special that he recorded inside during COVID, and this came out and had a whole bunch of people talking about him. Dude, I've never been sad from anyone passing away, really, that's like famous who I don't know in my everyday life. I don't give a f***, to be honest, about people, really. It's difficult for me to like do that. But Norm Macdonald, it was very sad. I was extremely upset because he died. I never met him. Why was I upset? I don't know. It's though. It's sad. The world is literally a worse place now. After Norm Macdonald died in 2021, it's been 3 years. That's crazy. Anyways, YouTubers are all charlatans and people suck. And Norm Macdonald was awesome, and he's dead now. He's not around anymore, so the life is worse. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.